All right, guys, in this podcast, we're going to dive into the latest news from Ski-Doo SnowCheck. We're going to go over what they released and then our opinions on it and what we would order if we were to order one today. Let's jump right into it.
I don't want to talk. How you try and press the kid and read it, you was soft. All you know is capping homie.
All right, guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the Let's Assess podcast. Today, we have all four of us in the studio. We're going to be diving in to some big news if you're a Ski-Doo or Lynx guy, and that is SnowCheck. So before we get into it, if you would like, subscribe. Blackbird merch is live. Go support us there. Powderbound link if you guys want to come out and ride with the Marcus the Fabricator and AJ the Builder. And so the links are in the bio there. Also, I always forget to say this. We are putting these podcasts on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you're driving or you don't want to see our pretty faces in the video on YouTube, you can check us out there. All right, let's jump right into it. Or before we jump right into it, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so Powderbound, we're going to run a little bit of a flash sale here for March. We have a couple weeks where we need to get some bookings in there. So March 2nd to the 5th and March 24th to the 28th, we have, we're going to do $100 off any sled rental. So it's right around 20% off. If you guys are interested in that, you have to call the Powderbound number and I can set the booking up for you. I'm not going to do a code or anything like that. If there's other dates in March that work for you, give me a call. I'll still honor that same deal and we can get you a fit in there. But for sure, those dates, we're going to do $100 off any sled rental, and that's guided. So you're looking at $400 to come out and ride a sled guided. Kind of a no-brainer to come do that. That's a great deal. Snow is absolutely epic right now, and we got some little hidey holes hidden in the shade. And come ride with us. We love to see you out here.
Yep. So check them out. Links are in the bio for merch and booking for those guys. Before I forget, we will jump into Q&A and Scumbag of the Week. We'll do that after we talk about SnowCheck. All right, let's jump right into it. So as you guys probably know, me and Brad are Polaris guys, or that's what we're riding right now. And then Marcus and AJ, the Fabricator and the Builder, are Ski-Doo guys right now. So they're going to kind of give their thoughts on it, and then I'm going to jump in as a sideline guy and give my thoughts on what I would think if I was a Ski-Doo guy.
Yep. I'm pretty overall happy with what they came out with. There's some things that I would have liked to see, yes. But as the industry sits right now and how painful it is to resell and all that, I'd love to see them scale back and do less production, but at least they didn't put anything out super crazy. It's kind of bold new graphics, essentially. There's some good things that they did for sure and some exciting stuff for the people that are going to snow check every year anyway, kind of like us. But overall, I think it might have been best for the industry that they didn't put out a 900 or something like that, because then that would be the huge influence that just drops the market out of everything else that they have. So I am happy about that. The Summit X looks like it got the biggest overhaul, it seemed like.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of guys saying that they're switching from Expert to Summit X.
Yeah, well,
I think I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Just because of the weight difference. 14 pounds, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yep. I think I'm gonna be stubborn and get the Expert just because I want one in that 32-inch front end just to see how it is. I have my fears that when you look at the 34-inch, me and Marcus were looking at one in the shop the other day, it's going to be okay side hilling to the left side, but the right-hand side, it's going to be kind of like the Gen 4, I'm afraid, where it panels out too easy and you lose your edge pretty fast.
Why are you saying to the right?
The side panels are actually there's probably a 2-inch gap on the 34-inch front end on the left side, and there's probably an inch gap on the right-hand side. So you're going to lose an inch each side. So I think you're going to be parallel with the side panel on the right-hand side, and then you're going to have an inch on the left side. So
yeah, and I saw a picture of the 32 front end. It looks just straight on. It looks way narrower.
Yeah.
It looks like the skis are under the belly pan.
Yeah. No, it's going to be wild. And they, my thought was, 32-inch front end, I can put the ski spacers all the way wide, and then it'll be similar to the 32 if I don't like it.
Or the 34.
Or to the 34, yeah. But they did new spindles that are full width, which is great for the ski rubbers, but it's going to jeopardize. We can't move that ski out any further. So hopefully someone will come out. I'm sure someone will come out with an elevate spindle, the narrow, and I can widen it up a little bit just to get a little more corner bite. But we'll see. Maybe it's amazing. I don't know. I haven't rode one yet. I do want to try it. So when Marcus was talking, he wants to order an X. I was like, well, maybe I'll order the Expert. That way we have one of each and compare them against each other.
I think, well, there's a lot of people saying you don't got to get it so far over on its edge to side hill. So maybe that right-hand side hill isn't going to be as bad as we're thinking it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that I've like watched online that have rode the 32 front end or 32-inch front end, they're like, it's not really that big of a difference.
Yeah.
But the thing that I worry about is, like, we've been doing a lot of jumping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, I guess for me, I wouldn't want to jeopardize it not feeling that much different in the deep trees for something that's way worse off jumps.
Yeah.
Or potentially way worse.
Yep. No, and that's definitely one of my concerns. Like this time of the year, what's it going to be like? You know, I mean, we've been building the jump every time we went out, essentially. So that is definitely a little concerning with it. But I don't know. Maybe you'll see myself wad myself up a little more next year. Who knows?
It'll give the aftermarket something to build in.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, this year is Ski-Doo drop, and I guess last year, it's like Polaris's last year drop. It's like, bam.
Yeah. Well, talk about like the least amount of hype ever. Like if you're not a Ski-Doo ambassador, there is zero hype on this like release. I feel like the whole social media is just like. Whoop,
I do like that new colorway they came out with. It's like a green.
That green, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm really.
I like
tossing
that a lot.
around.
Yeah.
Army green.
You can make a pretty sick wrap out of
A
that.
desert tan wrap on top of that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm kind of tossing around because I am. I'll go expert next year for sure.
But you like colors that are so bright. I don't know if it'd pair well with that army green.
I wouldn't recognize you.
100%. I can't put saturation to it. What will I do?
Yeah.
It's
Turn
the-
it into lime green.
Yeah,
lime
yeah.
green.
Slide it all the way.
Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like with the blue sled this year though. Like I ordered the blue and I got it and I was like, eh.
See, I like that blue.
But
Yeah.
mine, it turned out fine. Like it looks good. I like that sled. It turned out all right. But
Yeah.
I'll have to add something bright to it to make it cool. Expert and X, like you touched on, shorter tunnel and shorter cooler though. I am excited for that. We've already talked about some exciting things that we might try to do on that. I think we can make that tunnel. Now it gives us the freedom to kind of take the old cutoff wheel on the grinder and do some fine tuning back there. Marcus played around with his as much as he could this year with the coolers still there. So they're giving us a couple inches to spare there. We might be able to really.
You might be able
Make
to make it
something
like
custom.
a Polaris.
Yeah.
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 You never know. We'll see.
Shock.
Also, kind of something cool that we can touch on is the X is going to the coilover in the rear, which is something I liked from the Polaris. So I put a coilover in my sled, and I've been running a coilover for the last 2 months.
Any difference?
Not enough, like
No.
no. Honestly, like when I first put it on, the characteristics of it, I was like not a fan because I had been riding the torsion springs with the shock for a while, probably about a month. And I was like, yeah, I like that. I almost went back to it, but I was like, no, force yourself to ride it and actually get used to it. Now I have the sled doing everything I want it to. If it was an NA, I think I would hate it because it really mellowed the Ski-Doo chassis out. It planted the front end more. It seems like it really like lets the track like flex more, or not flex more, but like follow the terrain better, but not like wheelie as much, which that's kind of like the Ski-Doo chassis has to wheelie in order to get it to do what you want it to. So I had to figure out how to get it to wheelie to make the chassis do what I wanted it to. But now that I got that figured out, I've really noticed that coilover jumping and like spring riding lately. The sled's more hoppy. It feels more pliable. And by pliable, I just mean like when you hit a bump, it kind of soaks it up, but then it also gives you a little bit more spring to like hop around. Like, you know how the Polaris is kind of hoppy?
Yeah.
Like, it gives it that little hoppy feel, but following the trend. It's not like hoppy up and down. It's like hoppy forward.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be cool that the Summit X offers that. But that's some of the reason why I might not be interested in it is because I already have this coilover shock that I can throw on to my new Expert. I'll probably have a coilover on that Expert next year as well.
You're running the Zebros coilover.
The Zebros coilover. Yeah.
And I think that thing's going to be a lot stiffer than what the factory coilover will be.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
What do you guys? Oh, sorry.
I'm sure you're going to have to upgrade it at some point, anyways, because
Yeah.
it won't handle the abuse we put them through.
Yeah, you guys are talking about this whole thing, and then you're gonna put Fox Air on it. So.
Well, but that's another really cool thing, I think. This opens up the market for Fox to put an air shock on Ski-Doo now. Because before they never it took hangers and different arms and things like that to make the Fox Air work on the Ski-Doo. Where now Fox Airs, we should be able to get the correct length and do Fox Air on the Summit X, just transfer it right to it. So that's gonna be pretty neat, I think.
Yep.
So on the other side of things, we know you guys ride Ski-Doos. What are your thoughts on, just for the people out there who are curious, why not Lynx? Especially for the style of riding that you guys like to do.
I've said it before. They're just too big and bulky. Something ain't right up front with them.
We went and sat on one the other day, because all they have is a Lynx 146 out of the dealership, and I kind of was in the market for a 146 turbo, and it's just like a football up front. It reminds me of an IQR Polaris race sled.
Yeah.
It's just stubby, wide, and I don't know, something
Yeah, see,
that
that's
doesn't
how
feel
I
right.
feel when I get on a Ski-Doo.
Yeah.
I feel
Stubby
it's
and
just
wide?
Stubby and wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more sleek though.
Yeah. I feel like I'm on a trail sled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until it's
But that's just
Yeah.
because I'm
Until you
used
hit
to
the
a
gas
Polaris.
or just like a
Right.
wheelie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the biggest thing with the Lynx for me is it's just too heavy. The Ski-Doo is too heavy, and now the Lynx is even yet heavier.
So we talked about this, but obviously we didn't talk about it on a podcast. What about, I totally understand from a deep snow, January perspective,
Yeah.
but what about the person that wants a spring sled? Would you ever think Lynx is it? Or are you just no way?
If you're down to give something new a shot, I would say give it a try. But you got to take the time to actually learn how to ride that sled
Yeah.
compared to a Ski-Doo.
Yeah, I
You
think it
think it's
handles
way
differently.
different?
Yeah, it's way different.
The way that rear skid works, it handles completely different.
See, in my opinion, and I'm not a hater on really any brand.
Yeah.
I just like Polaris.
Peace,
I
love.
think the Lynx is a way more fun sled
Yeah.
because you, especially for me, you can just bash that thing, and the more it reminds me of a race bike
Yeah.
versus when it comes to suspension, a race bike versus the Ski-Doo Expert is an enduro bike. So it's in the spring when stuff's hard and you're slamming off stuff. To me, that suspension, the harder you throw stuff at it, the better it gets.
Yeah, it eats it up a little better.
Yeah, considerably better.
I
in my
honestly
opinion.
think if I were to get a Lynx and I changed the skis on it,
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
adapt to it really easily.
Oh, yeah.
But to be honest with you, every single one I've rode with this Lynx skis on it,
Yeah.
I ride it for 15 seconds and I say, have this turd
Yeah,
back.
it's completely different when you swap the skis. Mine rode, I tried to make it ride like a Polaris, and I feel like I would have liked that sled a lot more if I had it this year and had a 55 under it.
Yeah.
I think I would have liked it a lot more. The 46 was too much for me, but
Yeah.
I mean, that sled, yeah, the harder you ride it, the smoother it gets.
Dude, but the thing is with even Lynx guys, they're I hate the skis.
Oh, yeah.
We've rode with people this season, not going to say who, but it's they're on Lynxes and they're love it. Skis are complete junk for what we ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's I just think that for a spring sled, it's a lot of fun. And dude, honestly, that was one of the most fun sleds that I've rode.
Yeah.
You could go up and just bash that thing off stuff and you wouldn't get thrown. But see, to me, it's Polaris is a way more sensitive chassis. And the fact of with your feet, and this is my opinion, with your feet, it's very reactive to what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? you don't struggle to get it up. You don't struggle to keep it there. It's very like planted, but also really good to feedback of the rider.
I think you could take anybody, any snow conditions, anywhere in the world, put them on a Polaris, and they could find a way to ride it.
Yeah.
Not so much with Ski-Doo and Lynx.
But that's the thing with like that Lynx. It was like it was like the opposite to me. It was like you kind of had to manhandle the sled.
Yeah.
But the thing that I liked about that is during the spring, it wasn't so finicky. It was more planted and it would just absorb stuff.
Yeah, and they don't seem to catch ruts as hard. Like the Polaris and the Ski-Doo, like when we were hitting the jump the other day, like I kept knocking the ruts down from where the skis were hitting because every time you would slot car into it and hit hard, where the Lynx seems to track a little better through stuff like that.
I just like that suspension, dude.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's really nice. Okay. Anything else? So go through. I know you guys touched on it. Go through what you'd snow check today if you had to snow check within an hour. Like say the details, not just Summit X.
I'm gonna go Summit X 154, all black again, just because I like black. But yeah,
That makes two of us.
that's about it.
Big screen or no screen?
Little screen.
Little screen, yeah.
Not a fan of the big screen.
Even with the buddy ride.
I don't think it's gonna be worth the crap again.
We just ride with you two yahoos, and you guys have Polarises, so it still won't link to them.
I won't buy a big screen until it can connect to every other manufacturer out there.
Yeah,
that would
that's
be
gonna
a
have to
game changer.
That's going to have to be a third party thing because I think the way that these manufacturers look at it is, why would we do that?
It's going to cost one of them too much money, and the other one's going to make money on it.
Well, yeah, but the other thing too is like, think about it. If I ride with you two and it's just you two, and that feature is really important to me, I'm more apt to buy a Ski-Doo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they'll ever do that, to be honest with you.
Well, I guess when you guys convert to the good side, then we'll look.
Yeah, we'll see what Polaris drops. I've seen a little change in your eyes on these Polarises. And it might be 3v1 at some point, and you're going to be like, gosh, I kind of want to join the gang.
I told you I'm only 50% though. I'll buy one of each maybe.
Well, yeah.
Depending on what comes out.
But then if you're lucky and you get one that rides, that
runs, yeah.
You're never going to take that Ski-Doo out.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start packing like 3 toe straps with. Imagine that. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. I'm going to order a Expert with little gauge 154 3-inch track.
Can you get a different track in a 154 turbo? I think you can only get the 3, right?
Free ride comes with 2.5.
2.5 you can get, and I think you might even be able to do it on the Summits.
I think the X you can.
The X you can. I think maybe there were some options in there where you could. But
And is that a belt
what?
belt drive?
no,
No.
none of them.
Chain
are.
case still.
So Ski-Doo's all chain case.
All chain case. Yep. So that would be a change I'd love to see someday, is to a factory belt drive, but I think that'll come with a chassis change because it's just too long to make the belt really, as good as the chain. Color wise, I'm tossing up. I probably will end up black, but I'm looking at that green just to have something different. But black gives you any option to go, wrap wise. But I don't know. Might do something cool with the green. We'll see.
What would you snow check?
Yeah, I do the green 54 3-inch.
An Expert or an X or
I'd probably go with the Expert. I think
if I
had to order
for
the next
one,
hour,
I'd get a Lynx.
Well, I mean, I thought I would get a 54 Lynx.
I'd probably get
Small
a 46 Lynx.
Really?
Yeah.
Turbos?
Yeah.
I would consider a 40. Well,
I don't
it depends
know,
how many
actually.
sleds you have, I guess. But
Well, yeah, like with the setup that I have, I feel like I would never take a Ski-Doo out on a deep day anyway, or like anything BRP.
Yeah.
So if that was like a spring kind of bash around sled, I'd probably do a Lynx.
yeah, like the Lynx is like the perfect spring, and like when the snow is not super great, when you're not going to be in trees.
The problem is I
going
just
to have
hate
fun.
how they turn Ski-Doos and Lynxes on hard snow or tracks.
Yeah.
It's like they just suck.
Well, see, I'm kind of in that boat with Marcus. Like, I want to get a 146 of some kind, and I'm tossing the idea around a turbo or an A. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't know either.
If I go Ski-Doo, I feel like I have to go turbo 146 because you just want those skis off the ground in the spring. That way it handles somewhat decent on hard pack.
Yeah.
So the sled's not in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
just got to keep her up.
Yeah.
But honestly, like the idea of a 146 Polaris in something is not the worst thing I've thought of. Like,
It's probably the best thing you thought of.
yeah, but then again, it's like, okay, if I go with a 146 Polaris, it's not going to be a boost. I'll
Yeah.
say that right
9R.
now. You can
9R.
9R. Yeah.
Knock on the dog.
knock on the dog because
Yeah.
that ain't getting no boost in this boy.
Yeah.
The only thing I look at, I got that 46 for your ride yet, and when you ride a 30, when you ride a 34-inch front end,
Yeah.
and compare it to the 36, it feels like you're riding a trail sled.
Yeah.
Okay, so remind me, I keep
Yeah.
forgetting. The Polaris is a 36,
36, yeah.
and your freeride is a 36.
Yep. And
Well-
the Expert is a 34.
Is a 34.
See,
Right
then it
now.
can't just all
Right
be
now.
ski stance because like the Polaris to me is a lot easier,
Yeah.
more tippy than
Just the way that 46 is set up, like how short it is and how wide it is,
Yeah, yeah.
it feels like a race sled or a trail
Yeah.
sled.
Yeah, but okay, but like off his point, do you feel like that on my 146?
No, just because that's how a Polaris feels.
Right. But that's what's so weird. Like for example, tell me this. Why is it that a Ski-Doo is so bad on other tracks? We were talking about this 2 days ago when we were riding. What is it? Because in my opinion, when I rode your sled, and I've rode your sled like very briefly,
Yeah.
that suspension from Ski-Doo that you guys are running is better than Walker Evans.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can't say like, oh, well, it's a suspension. No, it's not. And the skis, it's the same thing. You could put a CA Pro ski on it. It's the same thing. So what is it? It's something in the geometry that, and that's what's so weird thinking about it is it's like the Polarises are so touchy, in my opinion, when it comes to your feet, right?
yeah.
And the Ski-Doos are not. It like you
It's
say, you
all
ride them with
hands.
handlebars.
Yep.
So what is it that makes them so bad on other tracks?
So when Boondog Nation was here, shout out to Jack, we had a pretty in-depth conversation about this. I thought he had hit it just right on the nail. And what he was thinking was you take and you line up the ski to the track and the angle of that, whether it's a 146 or 165, the harder that angle is, the better or the worse it would side hill. But you lengthen that angle out and the better it'll side hill. So I thought, yeah, that makes complete sense. So a 146 with a 36-inch front end, a shorter track, you're going to have a pretty sharp angle from the ski bolt to the rear of the track. So I thought that makes sense. That's why it washes out. That's why it has so much buck. That's why it doesn't handle good there maybe because you just have too sharp of an angle. So I grabbed the tape measure and me and Marcus put a Polaris and a Ski-Doo right beside each other, 146 and 155s. And the Polaris actually is a sharper angle than the Ski-Doo.
They were all within like an inch or two.
Yeah, they're all within an inch or two, but the Polaris was actually what I thought would be worse. But yet it handles better. So
Yeah.
that kind of blew that theory out of my head. I don't know. There's something there. The suspension, I agree, is better on the Ski-Doo than the Polaris. But there's something in the geometry of the way it gets fed back to you in your hands. I am pretty sure it's got to do with that. Like something the way the suspension comes up, the way that just the geometry works.
Just a lot more ski pressure that you feel it in your upper body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Ski-Doo isn't so much with your feet. It's all your
Hands.
shoulders and
Yep.
yeah, your triceps basically.
So I think it has to be just the way the A-arms come up with the shock and the way that converts the pressure into the chassis, that there's just that much more ski pressure on the BRPs, Lynx, Skidoo, whatever, than the Polaris, and that's what's causing that. But I don't think it throws out the theory that what me and Jack were talking about. It's the same thing that Marcus doesn't like about his 146 turbo is it's the 36-inch front end. It creates more washout because of that hard angle. It's something to keep in consideration when we're looking at this stuff. That's where I think this 32-inch front end on the Expert, you're really bringing that angle pretty shallow. Things in a side hill like a dirt bike.
But dude, at the end of the day, a 146 is going to wash more than a 165.
Yeah.
Correct.
It doesn't matter
Correct.
how narrow a front end you got. there's
know.
more traction on a 165 and there's more in the snow.
Look at a snow bike. Look at how short that track is, and look at how it can just cut across a hillside.
Right, but they're not picking a ski out of the snow.
But that's just it. They're not picking a ski out of the snow. If you bring that ski in as tight as possible to where you're not tipping it as much, I think you get a better feeling out of even a 146.
I think so, but I don't think it's. I would still take for
Agreed.
washout. I would
Yes.
take a 36 front end on a Polaris with a 165 and put it up against a 30-inch front end on a 146. And
Oh, for sure.
like, well, dude, I have the same setup in a 146 and it was a 165.
Yep.
Same thing.
I'm not
That
talking
sled
about
would
like the
wash.
side hill though.
Yeah.
Just like in general, it feels like a tank.
No, I get that, but I'm talking about like the angle, like what you're
I'm
talking
talking
about.
about.
Yeah.
Kind of went
Yeah.
on a rant there about that.
Yeah.
But no, I see where you're coming from. The Polaris chassis just handles it a million times better. And they've got it dialed in, but we were looking at the Polaris and like they couldn't do a 34-inch front end or else they're going to panel out like now. Like they have to do a new chassis to even go to a narrower front end. They are stuck with a 36-inch front end.
This
right
is
now.
my opinion. I think I would rather have a wider front end, as wide as possible, until I can start to feel it on side hills.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, I don't feel like your sleds when I ride them, like, because I rode yours in that drainage the other day. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, this thing gets on edge so much easier. Yeah, it's 2 inches narrower, but I don't feel it. Like, to me, the Polaris is still considerably easier to get on edge. Now, most of that is because I'm on them all the time and I'm used to it. But I don't feel like, oh my gosh, this thing is just butter to get up on edge. I need a narrower front end. But what it's like we were talking about earlier, I would rather have them wider than for the jumps.
Yeah.
So when you
It
land, you're
stabilizes
not
it.
completely squirrely. And then you can say, well, a snow bike, but that's completely different because you're on one ski landing versus your weight on two skis.
I just hop in the little bit I have on Marcus's 146. I'm kind of with him on that. I think 34 might be the magic number on the Skidoo chassis because the 36 just feels a little too bulky out there. The 34 still feels stable to go off jumps. It still feels nimble. I think for that chassis, I think 34 is probably the optimal size.
For the riding we do.
For the riding
Yeah.
we do.
If you were like, I want a
yeah.
165 tree machine,
Oh, yeah.
I could see 32 working out great.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Different because it's different terrain.
Yeah.
For sure. But the way we ride with the little bit of jump in, a lot of powder riding, tight trees, that 34 is pretty optimal, honestly. Like it's pretty sweet. And it feels stable to me. Like I really think the 34 feels stable.
It's just comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Well, anything else to add before we dive into Scumbag of the Week?
Man, I don't think so. I think that's
Is
a
it
pretty
me?
good discussion there.
Yeah, in all honesty, we should be the Scumbags of the Week.
Had some days, let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show you guys a submission, and we will go from there. This is Levi Berg. Shout out to him for this submission. We're going to see his moment of the week.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, Levi. Yes.
Right over the
Right.
bars.
And,
Dang it, Levi.
yeah. That was good.
Waxed a tree, and then you just see in the gap of the tree his body just dude.
Yard sailing through.
Yeah.
That's pretty dang good. That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Nice work, Levi. Good submission.
Levi-
Hopefully
Sure.
your
Levi.
dome didn't hit your hood too hard and cause damage.
It's always good when your feet are above your head.
The good old scorpion.
Yeah.
The old scorpion.
Yeah. That's the out of control wheelie, set down tree, and then tumble
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
douche. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
We're from meadow bashing to tree riding real quick. And then right back to powder riding.
Wasn't ready for that transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, do you want to... Yeah, thank you for your submission.
Yes.
We appreciate it. We love a good laugh. And for those of you who have Scumbag moments, submit it to us, DM us. Dude, we need to get an email where they can send it.
Yeah.
And we can keep track of it better. But DM us right now, Cook Bros or Powderbound, and we will look at them and get them in here if they're worthy.
Yep.
Levi, you are worthy.
You're worthy.
Levi, tell your family you get the crown of Scumbag of the week.
Mom, Dad, I made it.
Going big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yeah, why don't you go and then I'll dive into mine.
All right, we're going to jump into Q&A now. So you guys submitted some questions on our stories on Cook Bros and Powderbound. So we will read those out and answer these. And it seems like everybody's really liking these Q&As. So we're going to keep them up as long as people keep submitting.
Yeah.
So first up here, is Powderbound Adventures a guide service or a clinic? Right now, we're kind of in the middle of, like, I would say lost. We do both. We are trying to get into clinics. It seems like there's been a huge need for that in our area and in just like a lot of questions that we field through the podcast, a lot of questions we field through the phone at Powderbound. So we threw an intermediate clinic out for this year. It is March 7th and 8th. If anybody is interested in that, you give me a call or you can book it online. So we're dabbling in the clinic this year, just one. But next year, we're going to try to do a full service clinic. We're going to have a house Airbnb rented. Come in. You'll have a chef that cooks for you. We set your sled up the night before. Then we go out and ride clinic style day one. Come back for a prime rib, nice meal at the house. And then go into day two, clinic style day two, 2-day clinic on the snow. If you want to stay the third night, definitely stay the third night. So that is what we're going to look forward to for next winter, to try to have some clinics. So keep an eye open for that this summer. That's something we're looking into to do some clinic stuff. I don't think we'll ever get away from the guide stuff. We love the guiding. We do clinic-based guiding, though. It makes our life easier. It makes your life easier. If we see something while we're riding with you, we're going to point it out to you. We're going to teach you. We're going to help you along the way. Nobody comes away from us that we've noticed and is like, wow, we didn't learn something today, even if they're just being guided. So it's a pretty, small group to where we get a lot of focus on you and help you get your foot placement right, get your arms right, get your side hilling right, things like that. So we are a guide service, and that's primarily what we are as a guide service. But we definitely add a clinic style to that. That way you bring some value home. Yeah, I think that pretty well answers that. You got anything to say to that?
I think that's good.
Okay. Next one. Have you ever forgotten a piece of gear that you could not go back to get, like a helmet or jacket? We get this one pretty often, it seems like, question-wise. Yes, I have. I always just make it work. We always have, like, different size stuff in the trailer. So I've never rode without a helmet or rode without boots or anything like that. I've wore 2 right-hand boots. I've wore extra large helmets. I've went without goggles, odds and end things. Yes, definitely have just made it work though. I've never forgotten a jacket or anything like that. And I always have jackets in my truck too. So can always make it happen.
Yeah, I can't recall any time that I've forgotten anything important.
Yeah.
Maybe like an extra pair of goggles, but that's about it.
He means like left at home or left on the mountain?
At home.
I think at home. Pretty sure home. Yeah.
We
Couldn't go back
got
and
into
get it.
this on one podcast. I mean, we used to forget stuff, but normally the lot that we're riding is so close, it just makes sense to go, if it's really essential,
Yeah.
just to go home and grab it. But now with the enclosed trailer, the gear never leaves the trailer, so we never, knock on wood, we've never forgotten anything since that.
Yeah.
That is like an essential
necessity.
staple.
Yeah. I've never forgot like a sled or anything like that.
I mean, like the closest would be not having like batteries or anything charged, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's you technically don't have it
Yeah.
in the radio or beacon, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and we always are taking extras and all that stuff with us. So it's never really one of those things that we tend to forget, but we're kind of a unicorn in that situation. We have extra beacons, we have extra float bags, we have extra everything with us to where it's not we may have forgot it, but you didn't really forget it because you always have it with.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. how does a videographer get in contact with athletes, brands, and OEMs? Well, if you're interested in us, just send us a DM. It's kind of that easy, honestly, I think. Squeaky wheels get the grease, and you just keep emailing, you keep Instagram messaging, like whatever, to get in contact with these people. It's a pretty saturated market for like OEMs and gear brands and stuff like that. They have their select group of guys that they like and that they want to use, and they stick with them for 40 to 60 years, it seems like. Doesn't really
until they're dead.
Yeah, essentially. Like it never changes, it feels like. It's great if you can get that role, but I think it's kind of one of those inside jobs. You got to know somebody in there, and the only way to get that in the house is keep bugging them. But also, more than anything, like this is with any sponsorship, or if you're looking for anything, how can you provide value for them? Take something that they have and make it in your own style and send it back to them. This is what I can do. Give them something for free that they can use, and then maybe that can give them the, hey, this person's interested in us. Hey, this is actually really cool. I like this. Something along those lines to get your foot in the door. Maybe Brent has more to say on that. Maybe you're a little more media savvy than me.
I would just say, like, you're in this industry, your Instagram is your portfolio. So if you can make good content, I mean, in my opinion, there's a difference between some guy who likes to make content versus like a videographer that is like dialed,
Like
you know,
me to you.
No, it takes a long time, but with being a snowmobiler, if you can ride good enough to get into these zones and you are really talented on a camera and the editing thing I think is probably 75% of it. I mean, you know,
Maybe offer to even go film somebody for free.
Yeah.
And then be like, hey, if you want me to edit it, like I edit it for a certain price per hour or something.
Yeah,
Or you're like,
and-
I'll give you an edit for this price.
and
or something
build
like
a
that.
portfolio. The thing is like, you have to think, this is an example. Say you wanted to be a videographer for football. Okay. You're just starting, and I don't know where this person's at in their journey, but like, say you're just starting, you're not going to go get a media pass in an NFL game. Like, you're just not. You're not good enough. You don't have the name yet. So the best way to do it is go to your local middle school and shoot a game, and then make a sick edit that everyone talks about. And then someone at the high school sees it and they want you to come shoot the high school. And then a local college sees it and they want you to come do that, right? And then you work your way up. So in the snowmobile industry, starting with Polaris is probably not the easiest move.
Yeah, it's not step one.
Yeah. Step one is filming your local guys, making them sick edits. They show their friends, and then you kind of go from there. That's what I'd say without
Yeah,
going
some
into it too
pro
deep.
bono.
Yeah. You
Building
gotta
a portfolio.
Yeah.
Your resume is your Instagram.
But another thing is you got to be dialed to shoot big people, in my opinion, especially for like OEMs. But the great thing about OEMs is they're going to pay a lot. Yeah. But you have to be dialed and then network with people, work your way up to the bigger athletes that have connections at Polaris, say you want to shoot with, or go to Heydays and pitch yourself there. You got to get in front of these people somehow. But at the end of the day, we don't really shoot for other people, so
Don't really know how to get into there.
so we're guessing.
Yeah.
I guess you'd say.
But I would say that's how we've landed any of our brand deals or sponsorships. Like, we are putting a product out and they are reaching out to us because they're interested in what we're putting out. Just like the podcast. It gets recognized by somebody. They then reach out to us because of, what we're saying on the podcast.
Yeah, and I think another big thing is like, your stuff has to look good. Like, to work with these brands, talk about like saturation, like you were saying.
Yeah.
How many people do snowmobiling content? Like a ton of people. Every young snowmobiler is posting videos about their weekend.
And everybody can do a bow tie re-entry.
Right.
Yeah.
The difference is like, does your stuff look different than everyone else's? Like, and that's what I would say. I mean, I'm not saying that we're the best content, but I think that our stuff looks different than 99% of snowmobilers out there.
Yeah.
And not that we're better than 99% of people, but we've just worked hard at the media side.
Well, yeah,
Or
and
we
I
try
think
to.
I mean, I think we have our own style.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Well, and you've got so many years of doing it too, you know?
Yeah.
You've built that style and you've built that resume of how many posts do you probably even have on Instagram?
970.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a lot of trial by fire to get where you are at now. You know,
Yeah.
I look back on my first posts on Powderbound a year ago and it's like, wow, I've actually came a little ways.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like people DM us like, dude, I could show you 300 DMs.
Yeah.
What camera do you guys use? That's probably our most number one thing. And I send back what we use because I'm being honest with them. And then it's like, I know for a fact they look it up and they're like, oh my gosh, that with that lens, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we didn't start there.
Yeah.
Okay. We started with phones and GoPros, GoPro 3.
Yep.
Okay. And then we worked and saved money and then got a Sony A6400,
Yep.
which is a small, mirrorless camera with a kit lens.
Yep.
And then we got into, then we go to bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's the same thing with riding. Like, you're not going to start on day one, have an expensive camera set up, and be dialed on editing day one. Like, you have to have the passion. It's all about passion. Like, if you're passionate about something,
You got to build to it.
but dude, it's like we always talk about. I am so unpassionate about working on sleds.
Yeah.
Is it rocket science? No, but I don't want to do it. Like the throttle thing, I'd rather just JB weld it than switch the throttle out. Why? I'm a fairly intelligent person. I could figure out how to put the throttle on. I could look up a YouTube video.
You
I
took the
don't
pin
want
out.
to. Yeah, but I don't want to. It's the same thing with you guys. It's like if I told Marcus, "Hey, you got to edit this, YouTube video for the week." He'd say, "Do you have anything I could fix so you edit it?"
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
he's passionate about that. I'm passionate about this.
Exactly.
So that's what he's good at. And that's what I'm good at.
Speaking
So
of, we need to fix your throttle.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
No, we need to fix it.
The
Beeping seat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We do got to fix the seat.
again,
Anyway,
Tappers.
more yeah.
More
Drywall
JB
screw.
Weld.
On that note, the camera does not make the film work though anymore. Like you could honestly make some amazing edits off iPhone clips now. Will it be cinematic? Will it be as good as your cameras? No. But like for someone at my level, I can work with a cell phone clip as easy as I can with my camera clips because 50% of the time I don't have my settings right on my camera. You know, like that is the thing that gets forgotten is it's not just shooting on a $10,000 camera. It's knowing how to run said camera. And that is something I have a slight interest in learning because you get so frustrated working with garbage video when you're shooting on a camera. But don't think that you can just go out there day one with the camera in auto and shoot snowmobile content either.
Well, and the other thing too is like, okay, so then you shoot it perfectly. But if you're a dog shit editor, it's like,
No good.
then it doesn't look that great anyway. Because, I mean, I'm telling you right now, you'd put an iPhone clip up to a clip out of these cameras and you don't do any editing. You just look at tit for tat.
Yeah.
The iPhone clip will look
It'll
better.
look better.
The GoPro clip will look better because
Yes.
there's color in it and you just got to figure that out.
Raw clips on these cameras is not anything to speak of. It's the editing that makes it good.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is kind of forgotten in that question itself by a lot of these people is it's just not the camera that makes what you guys do special. It's you behind the computer, you behind the camera getting the shot, and then you behind the computer what makes it special.
Well, dude, and like the other thing too, taking it a step further is like making stuff that people want to watch.
Yeah.
It's like and obviously if you're working with brands, it's like you're shooting their stuff.
What they want, yeah.
But like when it comes to an Instagram level, it's like, people, they want to watch something that's entertaining and funny. So like the quality doesn't need to be there all the time.
Yep.
Like the content, like the substance behind the content needs to be there more than like the epic edit.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Agreed.
Anyway.
That's very true.
Yep.
All right. Oh, shoot. Okay. How do you get the money to ride sleds?
I work construction.
Work.
I said gravestones, farm a little bit, and a couple other things here and there for cash.
Corn farming.
Yeah, I think it's work. I mean, what
Yeah.
other way?
I mean, we're fortunate enough that we've started a business to where we get to be on the snow a lot, and it kind of funds a portion of our habit.
Not really.
Doesn't. It's costed us a lot of money. But like that's the goal of like what we've started is to be able to fund our bad habit. But I mean, at the end of the day, I have a construction job for the rest of the year that I keep up with throughout the wintertime and maintain to work all summer. And Marcus is on the phone daily, like getting gravestones ordered and getting ready for summertime, getting seed ordered. Like when we're not guiding, we're doing our summertime prep job stuff too. Like it's not glamorous in any way being an athlete on a snowmobile. I don't think there's a way, like, I don't know anybody other than like the top dogs that are making money snowmobiling. So like find jobs. Construction's a great one. Anything that like isn't lay you off in the wintertime, but you make enough money in the summertime. Like that's a great option right there.
Yeah. Hunting plans for 2025.
Oh boy.
Are you going to get a tag?
I haven't even thought about hunting, to be honest with you. I got the Colorado proclamation the other day, and my sister sent a text and was like, "Oh, we need to figure out if you're going to take me hunting this year." And I'm like, that's like a long ways away from right now. Like that's not even on my radar. Like I know tags are due like April something, so I need to start thinking about it. I'd love to pick up a deer tag. I've got enough points. I might be able to snag a decent deer tag, so probably that's the only thing I'll be interested in. Otherwise, the plan will be to help the guys out guiding in the units, and then hopefully me and you can maybe get out a couple more days than the last days of the season.
Yeah. I would say my plans are, I think I'm just going to stick with an archery tag.
As frustrated as you were on the last day of archery last year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
By September, he'll be in a different mindset.
Well, and here's the reason
He'll be
why.
ready for.
Here's the reason why. And I don't know how much this is going to affect, but it gives me a reason to stay with archery, is if you're out of state, you got to draw now.
Yeah.
So that might be kind of
a lot less pressure.
A lot less pressure, and maybe go back to the way it was a couple years ago. And
Doubtful, but okay.
And the other thing too is like I like being able to hunt the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like we live right here next to trophy elk hunting. It's nice to be able to go out every day after work.
Yep.
You know.
I knew you'd come around.
Yeah.
I knew when you threw your bow in the case the last day of September that you weren't going to pick up a rifle. You were going to pick the bow back.
Well, and I think I'm going to try to maybe draw a deer tag. I got a couple points, and I don't think I'm going to draw 10 this year. So,
well, maybe we need to sit down and talk about that. Maybe we can do something there.
yeah, Ski Dog brought over some deer, and it tasted pretty dang good. So I'm kind of interested now. We're talking about we'd like to do like what I would like to do is do an over-the-counter archery here where I can hunt the whole month.
Yep.
And take a week and go to like Montana, Idaho, and try to do a hunt there.
Gotcha.
So
Nice. Marcus, you doing any hunting?
No hunting.
No hunting.
Not for me.
Hunting GTRs and
yeah, he's racing.
Vipers. No, I've thought about getting a rifle tag. I mean, I would just want to go out to fill the freezer, but
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to look into
Mount the 300 Winchester Magnum on the freaking Razor and just drive him around as fast as we can, chase some elk, and have him like a freaking Marine Corps unit up there, just bam, bam.
that. Fully auto. Bah, 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 bah.
Yeah. Not anymore.
There's no meat left. Yeah.
Not anymore in Colorado. Anyway, okay. What's the weirdest item you've seen someone bring in their tunnel bag? I've seen someone else bring.
Oh, I got one.
What go?
Learned this the other day. Toothpicks.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That was
Yeah.
that was the
an odd
first.
one. Yeah.
It was
Usually
cool.
it's
That
not
was
in his-
impressive.
It's just in his mouth, not his tunnel bag all day.
Well, he's got spare ones,
Oh, I'm sure.
but yeah, I thought that was really cool to be able to ride, like tree ride with a toothpick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
The most impressive thing I've seen on snow for a couple days.
I don't really have. I can't think of anything odd that anybody's ever brought with us. Really, even.
No.
I think something that just kind of like is weird to me though is when people have a shovel on their back for Avi stuff, but then they also have a shovel in their tunnel bag.
Yeah.
That one also blows my mind. Like,
Yeah.
And they're like the same size.
yeah, it's the same shovel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you packing two? But okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I can
mean,
see like packing a scooper on your tunnel and then
Yeah.
like an Avi one in your.
Yeah, I can see that on
That
days,
came
but, like,
from this whole thing of these people preaching, and I'm not saying it's wrong. Is like you need to have the stuff on you,
Yeah.
like on your body that you would need in a survival / avalanche situation. But then it's like, well, my tunnel bag has a mount for a shovel and it's easier to get to it.
Yep.
You're supposed to have both.
Yeah.
That way, when you're stuck and there's an Avi chute above you, you can take, well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but your buddy could take the one off of your sled so he still has it in his back when it slides on top of him.
I mean,
In theory. I mean, you're supposed to have two.
Huh. Yeah. See, that's just one of my pet peeves, like extra weight that's not needed.
Yeah.
like two Leathermans
Yeah, exactly.
or a mouthpiece.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar situations. you
Yeah, the
know?
weirdest thing I bring, and I need to take it out. I said that last podcast, is a mouthpiece. Of course, after that last landing, I might start wearing that son
Start
gun.
putting that bad boy in.
Jeez,
Yeah.
dude, my head buckled so bad. Okay. Would a 165 Chaos boost with a Vogue 40 horsepower tune still be super playful? I think it depends on a couple things. One, what do you consider super playful? Is it going to be 146 with a 40 horsepower tune playful? No.
No. But in steeper terrain,
Yeah.
but less steeper than without the 40 horsepower tune.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say it's
It'll be pretty playful.
Yeah, I would say it's very play. And depending, another thing is like your suspension setup.
Yeah.
If you're locked out in the rear, that's not going to be that playful.
Yeah, but if you're running 3 on your front shock and
Yeah.
1 on your back with Foxes,
Yeah.
then yeah, it's gonna be playful.
Yeah.
She's gonna be wheelie mode all the day.
Yeah, but I'd say going to like the intercooled tune is when I'd say that is very, very playful for a 165.
Yeah.
Like that thing comes up easy.
For sure.
How do you find people to ride with apart from joining clubs? I would say social media
Yeah. That's probably your best bet, honestly.
or Facebook groups is another one. How many times have you seen, I'm riding rabbit ears looking for someone to tag along and there's like 70 people. Oh
Every
yeah, you
week.
can hang with me. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's how a lot of people actually kind of get joined up. Like we have buddies from Minnesota that like that's how some of their like they'd pick a guy up in Nebraska. Like guys never even met the guy, picks him up in Nebraska, throws his sled in the trailer, and they come out for 2-3 days riding.
Yeah.
It's like, huh, that's interesting. But I mean, throw it out on Facebook and see, I guess.
Yeah, or if you know someone in your area that that rides a lot, reach out to them. I mean,
Yeah, cold call.
we started hanging out because of snowmobiling.
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's how we kind of met.
Yeah.
So
Newer sled, more hours, or older sled, less hours?
depends how new and old we're talking.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
happy
that's-
medium there.
There's a happy medium there. I would say if it's 2 years old and has more hours, that maybe I'd be more interested in that than like a 6 or 8-year-old sled that is like brand new. Like for me to go buy a brand new 2020, I might have a hard time I would have a hard time doing that. But to go buy a used 22, 23, got my attention maybe.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
and I think it depends what chassis too.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
I wouldn't mind going to an Axis.
Really?
I mean, I'd rather be on a Matrix, but I'm saying like if I was getting into a sled and I didn't have the money to go buy a new one.
Yeah, but I think I'd rather have a higher miles Matrix than a brand new Axis. But I hated the Axis chassis too. That's
Really?
also that.
I didn't mind it. But like what I'm saying is this is what I'm trying to say. I would rather have a higher hour Axis than a really low hour Pro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's-
yeah.
that's what I was
Okay,
going
to
with that.
even go older, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, so that's kind of
Speaking of, we're gonna have some higher mile sleds coming up for sale soon if you're interested.
yeah.
Maybe even a 25.
2,000 miles.
Actually,
That ain't that bad.
225s.
Okay,
DM us.
I got one to close this out. Before that, what would you rather have, 9R or boost, and in what track length? Okay, so I'm taking this as you got one sled.
Yeah.
I'll say mine. If I had one sled for where we ride in Colorado at elevation, hands down, I'm taking the boost. Not even a close comparison. 9R would be a good second or third sled in my opinion, but if I could only have one, I'm taking a boost. I'm taking a 155 and the 325. That would be, if I could have one sled, that's what it would be.
Huh.
That's what I ride. That's what I have. That's what I'd buy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my favorite setup.
Mine would be identical.
Yeah, if you're having one sled.
Identical to your guys's, but if I couldn't have the boost, it'd be a 9R 165.
165.
Yep.
Why do you say that?
Just more track back there. Got a little less power so you can climb a little higher.
That's interesting. I would. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. I just thought you'd say 9R 146. But that's
Well, if you
like
could
a
only
second
have
or
one
third
sled, you can
Yeah.
get everything done on a 165.
Yeah,
I
but
had-
you would take the 155 boost.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you? And you would go Polaris or Skidoo. You'd probably take the Skidoo.
I thought we were talking.
I thought we were
Polaris.
talking about Polaris.
Well, yeah, I guess because Skidoo doesn't have a 9R.
Yeah.
Sucks.
I'd go boost 155.
325.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would love to go boost 325 because of our elevation, but with my experience that I've had with the Polarises, I would go with a 9R 155 Chaos.
Really?
Yep.
You have one sled,
One sled.
and you would take an NA.
Yep.
What?
That is how sour I am against that boost.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is
I
ridiculous.
thought you were kidding all this time.
Nope.
Yeah.
Dead serious. Like I don't think I could go down that rabbit hole again. That was traumatic. The
Yeah, but
boost, man.
Like me, it's one little wire away,
Yeah, but
and they run flawless.
I feel like you were so lucky.
Yeah.
So
No,
lucky.
well,
but
but
knock
in
on
the
wood.
same way,
Yeah.
I feel like he was so unlucky because he got one out of
I know he was unlucky, but how lucky that they've had the same problem for 5 years and they pulled on the exact wire. What if it was the wire next to that wire, but they didn't know it was that wire? He would still be fighting the same issue.
Yeah.
Like, thank goodness it was that wire he pulled on and you found it first go. Like, I'm stoked for you.
Yeah,
because your sled's an animal.
That is true.
And I love your sled. But I'm so glad it's yours and not mine, because if that would have happened to me, like, and I know the conversation happened that you were down there like, what can I do to get a Ski-Doo now? Or a Lynx.
Yeah,
Like, I
mean-
know that, like, I've been in that situation where it's like, I just want away from this thing because I'm not going down this road of electrical nightmares. And I don't know why, but the NAs seem to not have the electrical nightmares.
Dude, if you were
Yeah, I
on a
don't know.
9R all year and we were all on boost, you would hate yourself.
He rode an 850 146.
I know, but that-
the
On the
deepest winter.
Deepest winter we ever
yeah,
had.
but that was before we were doing a lot of filming.
Well, yeah, but I was still happy as a clam.
I remember that.
I mean, there was days.
I really need a boost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a reason I ordered one, right? But no, I honestly, I would rather be able to go ride with you guys than to go down that road again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's not a dodge against Polaris. That's just the way it is, man. That's my experience.
That and a 9R will get anything done you need it to.
Oh, I will take that 9R anywhere you boys want to go.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
But you're not pulling the big moves on camera, I don't think.
No, you're not going to come out of the snow and you're not going to like
Yeah.
nail monster reentries on deep days. But like everything that we've done this year on camera, there's nothing that comes in mind that I couldn't do on that 9R right now. It might not look as cool, but I could do everything that I've done on
Well,
camera
the
on
other
that
thing
9R.
too is like, yeah, it'll do everything. I'm still sticking with my thing of like when it comes to the deep, steep bow ties and reentries, I don't think you'd have enough power. I don't think you'd have enough power to pull 3 bow ties consecutively in one line without getting a bunch of momentum on a deep day.
Yeah, I don't have the oxygen to do that either.
Right. But but the other thing is like, I don't think you'd have as much fun.
It wouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I would still at least be out there having fun.
You can
every
turn
day.
them 9Rs up just enough to where you can do all that stuff.
And that's the other thing. If I was going 9R, it would probably have some twin pipes on her.
Twin pipes, head, clutching, all that good stuff.
Extra 20 horsepower goes a long ways on an NA sled.
Yeah, but at that point, you're like $5,000 more than a boost.
Yeah,
But it runs.
Mine.
Yeah, mine runs.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the last question. What would you like to see Polaris change for 2026? Okay, we talked about this a little bit.
I'd like to see what they did last year again. Just actually do what they said they were going to do.
Like what?
Like fix the electrical issues to where it's not the same problem year after year after year. Like, thank goodness they fixed the throttle lever and stuff like that. But like, there is more that they can do. Like, they made a better running board that breaks every day. Awesome. Like, now Backwoods has to make a billet one, you know, like there are things that what?
You haven't seen that yet?
Whose running board is broken right now?
You've never seen a 25 on Facebook
Yeah,
broken?
I have, but I'm joking with
Oh,
him.
well,
because
yeah, mine's broken
His
currently.
running board is broken, not his.
Yeah.
He ran into a sled.
Yeah. High rate of speed.
He ran into 15 different things this year.
Well, have you
Yeah,
seen the
I've ran
front end
into
of
a
his
lot.
sled right now?
Yeah.
It shows it.
It's messed
But
up.
the boards have held.
Yeah, the boards have held pretty good.
But no,
Knock on wood.
I would like to see him refine that stuff even back more
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. I would like to see a 9R boost 146. That's what I want to see.
That'd be pretty cool to see that.
That'd be cool
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, I want just like consistency, you know?
Like you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, no loose wires and loose bolts from the factory. And I don't think there's a whole lot. Yeah, I mean, a 9R boost would be sweet, but I'm not asking for the world. But I think we can all agree if we were all guaranteed to get a very well-running Polaris next year, it would all heavily influence what we snow check.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But you just don't know if Susie's going to put the zip tie here or Adam's going to put the zip tie here. And
Yeah.
who knows what that's going to do for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
You don't know if the sled was built, you know, Tuesday afternoon or Friday night at midnight after a couple rounds.
Yeah.
You never know.
A couple cold pops deep.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a 9R 146, and for the people that keep their hoods stock, I would like to see them drop some weight out of the hood.
Yeah.
I think it's just ridiculous.
Heated brake lever couldn't kill. I'd like it.
I mean, to me, I'm
30
talking
grand?
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 30 grand. For me, I mean, I'm going to switch all that shit out anyway.
Selfishly, I would like to see not a lot of changes. They can do something kind of like what Skidoo did. I think Skidoo had a nice balance of enough innovation to keep the people interested, but not too much to screw the resale market. I am terrified what this 9R boost is going to do to the snowmobile market.
But dude, hear me out, okay? And I'm just playing devil's advocate here. We talked about this on the phone the other day.
Yep.
So who in the right mind, seriously, is going to go out and buy a new Ski-Doo when they can save $8,000 on a 25?
Exactly. But what I'm hoping is
But
that
so it's
actually
just going to
happens.
screw it up even more.
I hope that happens to where then at least next year, we're 2 years out from the snowmobile industry making like any change or recovery. Everybody I've talked to, there is no cut in production. Ski-Doo or Polaris.
Dude, you got to think at the end of the day, what are these companies?
Oh, they're out to make money.
They're manufacturing companies.
Yes.
So if they don't manufacture anything and sell it to dealers, they do not make any money.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, they're evil for doing it. It's like, well, that's how they make money.
I know.
Like,
I know.
They got to make sleds and side-by-sides and razors. I guess razor is a side-by-side and sell them or they make no money.
Yeah. But right now they're not making any money because they're selling them for $8,000 cheaper a year later.
Yeah, but that's on the dealer. Well,
But it's
that's
there's
some
rebates
nitty-gritty
there.
stuff.
There's some weird stuff there for sure.
But think about this, right? If Polaris comes out with a 9R boost and all the guys that care about being on the latest and greatest buy that sled
Yep.
till there's no leftovers, then it's going to fix it.
Oh, 100%.
But the problem with Ski-Doo is we're going to be in this, or it's not Ski-Doo, it's every manufacturer.
them.
If they just come out with new throttle blocks and a narrower ski stance, what's
Same
going to
boat.
happen is they're going to save $8,000 and they're going to buy last year's. If you guys were smart, money wise, and you didn't care about being on that sled, especially for 14 pounds saving $8,000, we can
shave that off.
Yeah,
pretty
you could
easily.
shave that off very easily for $8,000.
sure.
So this is the thing though. If nobody buys the new sled because they can save so much money on the holdover, then the following year, these what are new now, these new SnowChecks, they're going to be sitting around everywhere, and it's going to keep repeating the problem.
Yep. What would be really nice is if they truly built the amount of SnowChecks that they need.
Yeah.
If we went back to a true SnowCheck where there was 350 Polaris 9R boosts bought, and that's all we're building. We are not building any more than that. That is all we're building. And it is a sought after sled, because then that is still sought after, but the people in season, they're like, oh, I want a turbo now. They still have to go buy an 850 boost. They can't go buy the 900 boost. But when you can walk out to your dealer and have whatever you want. Oh, you want a 146? Oh, you want a 154? You want turbo, non-turbo?
Yeah.
What do you want? I got it all. Oh, let's make a deal. How cheap do you want it now?
Yeah.
That's when it sucks.
Well, and it really sucks for the dealers.
Oh yeah, it's not good for the dealers. It's not good for us. It's not good for anybody really.
It's up to manufacturer.
Yeah, the manufacturer's doing fine.
They just got to pump them.
Yeah, they're just pumping them out. But yeah, I don't know. You made some very good points there. It's such a hard equation. I don't know what the answer is, but
I'll tell you what the answer is. They cut production for a full year.
they have to cut at some point. They have to cut production.
Yeah.
Like we're overstocked. We are
Yeah.
way overstocked.
Yep.
Well, there's going to be a breaking point where nobody buys anything. There's got to be.
Well, dude, it's
We're
literally
out at that.
But it's simple supply and demand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The demand's here, the supply's here, so so price is going to fall.
Yep.
And then the dealers don't make any money. We're not buying it because there's no demand for the new thing because it's the same.
Yep.
You know?
Well-
and then you have guys like us where it's like, okay, you know, you guys are in a little bit different boat because you put so many miles on a sled. And
Yeah.
we put way more than an average person, but not near what you guys do. It's not our job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is yours. But then you get people like me and a lot of you guys that have done stuff to your sleds, and you say, okay, the same argument that we've been talking about, that I've been talking about since fall. I have X amount of dollars in this sled. I'm going to sell it for half of what I have in it. And then I'm going to buy the same thing again.
And do it all again.
And then, yeah. So, like, it's going to cost me double to be on a new sled that's going to be the same thing. Versus if they do a factory 9R boost, speaking for me, I'd be like, I would like to be on a
about
9R
it.
boost. Maybe I'll take that hit.
yeah.
So,
No, it's a good point. But like even me and Marcus, we've talked like maybe we will just pick up leftovers.
But dude, like, why wouldn't you? You're
That's what I
gonna
would-
wrap them. You're gonna change a bunch of shit on them anyway.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
The boat we're in now, though, we've got a brand new sled with 2,000 miles on it. We overpaid for them, like saying we're a normal consumer, not Powderbound Adventures. But you're overpaying probably $5,000 for these sleds. You take a hit of another $5,000, and then you go buy a holdover 24, and you take a $5,000 hit off of that. You're $15,000 in before you're.
Because if we go buy a brand new 24 next fall for the $5,000 off, now next year when we go to sell a 2024 with 2,000 miles on it again,
It's worth $7,000.
it's worth nothing.
but think about this. This is what I would do if I were you guys. When you guys called me the other day and you're like, yeah, we're thinking about buying more sleds. That would be the move. And for two reasons. One is, or three reasons. It's going to be dang near the same sled.
Yep.
Okay? No matter which way you slice it and dice it.
Yep.
Two, they have 0% financing right now. So if you want to finance and not pay cash, it's free money.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of reckless way to look at it, but it's 0%.
That's how they want us to look at it.
That's
Yeah.
your car salesman coming out.
But-
It's free.
Yeah, but think about this too. It's not sled selling season. So
no.
you have dealers that don't want to sit on this stuff for a whole nother summer and have to discount it even more.
Yep.
You have the promo rate, and we all know that it's going to be pretty much the same thing. And I was literally looking yesterday when I was sitting around at 9R 146s because I would love to have that and not have a 300 horsepower spring sled.
Yep.
But then in my head, I'm like, I don't want to get into one and then them come out with something crazy, right?
Yeah.
And then regret buying it.
Then your hands are tied.
So I'm waiting. But if it was like Ski-Doo, if Polaris was, and they already came out with it, I'd have no problem. And it was the same thing.
Yeah.
No problem going and buying one right now.
Well, and we're really dabbling a lot of things through our head right now because, and that's where it really ties our hands even more is it's like, as a business, 0%, 2-year warranty. It's pretty lucrative for us.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty lucrative.
But at the end of the day, it's for the same product.
It's the same thing. It's the
you know what I'm
exact same
saying? Like
thing.
if they came out with a 900 boost like a Skidoo did, that'd be different.
Oh yeah. Yep. 100%.
Okay. I better get off my unicorn right now or I'm going to pass out. I'm talking so fast. Anywho.
That was a great podcast, fellas.
Yeah, I think that was some good conversation, a lot of different stuff.
Yep.
Something to chew on.
Yeah.
Something to chew up, spit out. Anyway. Okay, well, is that it?
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. If you listen to this point, we really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, links are in the bio, and we will have a YouTube video, actual video, not a podcast, coming out this Thursday. So tune in and watch us try to defy gravity. All right. Love you guys. Peace. Let her bark. See you next time.
See ya.
Later.